It's been a few years since we got a new documentary from Oscar winner Ezra Edelman, who, of course, made the epic crime drama documentary OJ Made in America. Was it's like 8-part
Masterpiece.
documentary? That
Four.
I think it
Maybe
was
it's
a
eight.
few parts.
It was a few parts. It was the one that changed the rule for the
Right,
Oscars to
they
no
changed the
longer
Oscars
be it,
rule.
which is insane.
So
Oh no, Zach left. But he was very excited to tell you about this new movie as he hops in over here. Let me pull up OJ Made in America, because for OJ Made in America,
my bad.
okay? Are you good? I was just pulling up OJ Made in America. I told him you were so excited for this new thing.
I couldn't contain myself.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
OJ Made in America is 7 hours long. So you may be right if they cut it up into hour segments for the TV show. Where are the episodes for this, bro? I guess that's the thing, right? Like, he did not want to split it. He said this is 7 hours.
Yeah, and there were movie theaters just showing the whole thing too. I think it was at Sundance even, I think.
Sundance was one of the first to play it, because when we were going to see that Kanye doc, they were like, "Oh yeah, you should be able to handle this, no problem." It's like, "Hey, excuse me, sir. I don't know about that." But yeah, right there.
So yeah, I
7
think we've
hours.
all kind of been waiting for the next Ezra Edelman documentary, and there's been, scuttlebutt bubbling up that he was going to make a epic documentary about one of our most iconic music industry figures, Prince. And not only was going to make this one, he's going to make it for Netflix, a company that is unafraid to splash around some cash on a big project every now and again. But years and years and years later, we still don't have this new Ezra Edelman film, and now we have a little bit more clarity on what's going on, because it seems like the Prince estate is blocking the documentary. According to them, it's due to some factual inaccuracies in the film. I found it pretty interesting that Variety reported about that back in July. Mid-July, there were some articles coming out around about that. And it seems like in response to it, Ezra Edelman has done his own round of press. He spoke to a couple different reporters. He had a screening for several influential media figures. I heard an interesting episode of the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast where he and film critic Wesley Morris talked in detail about this documentary because they
saw
given
it?
access to it.
So it's done.
It is done. It is ready to be released. But as Ezra is great at doing, he contends with all the kind of like hot button, potentially problematic issues that came with a public figure's career. And Prince is not a person who has lived like a perfectly moralistic life. Like he has instances of abuse in his past, and he has significant drug use, particularly towards the end of his life. And the sort of the buzz that I'm hearing seems to be that rather than the Prince estate thinking that this is a bad documentary or one that has factual inaccuracies, that they're concerned about whether or not this is going to like get Prince canceled, for lack of a better word. And so they are blocking a fantastic documentarian from releasing this 6 or 7 part documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, it says right here, 6-part documentary, Dead in the Water, which is an insane phrase, right?
Yeah.
I mean, going back to what we were saying, what did I say? I said it was 4. You said it was 8. OJ originally was released for ESPN in 5 parts.
Meet in the middle.
Meet in the middle. This is 6, bro. They need to meet in the middle, because we are not getting a profile of one of the most prolific people out there, but done by one of the best documentarians, and to not get that is terrible. Now, I can only imagine what it is that he got into, because that's the reason I like OJ Made in America so much. He probes at the most uncomfortable aspects of a case, of a person, of a society, to be honest with you. I need this to leak, bro. I don't know what we need to do.
I know. Somebody at Netflix, please do the world a favor. Upload to Pirate Bay, whatever you need.
Whatever y'all got to do, bro. Y'all just let us know, and we'll cover it on Weekend Must Watch. But this definitely needs to come out. Wow.
It's
That sucks.
interesting though, because I think this is
He's
kind of
dead
an
though. What are they cared
unintended.
about canceled?
Well, there still is, the opportunity
Money?
to like license his songs and get streams
Okay.
on Spotify, which, you ask me, that's only going to increase if you release a gigantic Prince documentary.
Right?
But if you ask me, what this is a consequence of is another thing that we love talking about on Intercut is the increase in these artist produced, almost infomercial-esque documentaries. Every big celebrity now has this documentary profiling them, following them around, talking about like what an icon they are, how significant their artistic achievements are, and
Yeah.
they're all done as essentially like marketing for a new album or a new show or whatever it is. But the celebrity profile documentary has gone from interesting filmmakers trying to chronicle interesting people to branded content. And I what I'm assuming here is that the Prince estate wants branded content. They don't want an
Yeah.
Ezra Edelman deep dive.
And that's not art. That's not telling the truth of what it needs to be. I got a two for here. I'll start with my recommendation for something like this done well. It was a documentary from Tribeca a couple years ago that I had highlighted as one of the best ones. Bitch and the Sound and Fury of Rick James. This gets into everything that this man went through, blemishes and all. They've got his family on here. They are embarrassed by some of the stuff that's brought up, but they keep it truthful. To me, this is one of the examples of what you need where you're able to get access to the estate to tell the true story. But because of that, you have to find a compromise, which is what Edelman's not able to get because of the fact that they don't like what he's covering. And he can't cover a Prince movie without the Prince footage, music, and all of that stuff. Another one that I would say over here in terms of what you've been talking about is RJ Cutler as a director. Because he is the best example of what you just described for the documentaries. And he does them well, but it doesn't change the fact that as much as I love the Billie Eilish doc, it is promotion for her.
Right.
It doesn't get to the sticky stuff. I'd say the Belushi one does the same thing. And most recently, Martha did the same thing as well. And even here, when he pried to anything, this woman came out and complained about it. I think the Martha doc, which is out on Netflix right now, is decent. I love the Billie Eilish documentary. But we are getting into a point where when you get really good filmmakers to make the best versions of what documentaries really shouldn't be, then we're in trouble because now we're not seeing the difference. We don't want the Edelman docs because RJ can make you the doc where he'll pry just a little bit, but make something where you end up liking the person at the end a lot more. Those aren't bad documentaries, but we can't get rid of the Edelmans of the world. So I do hope this comes out.
Yeah, same. I mean, it would be a shame just to, for him to have done all this work and for it to never see the light of day. And, as we said, like clearly it's been made, right? Like the legwork's been done, and now it's just a matter of like the people with power signing off on it. But I think we'd all really love to see it. And, I think there's a lot of people, particularly our generation, who have like passing familiarity with Prince. I wouldn't exactly say like I'm an expert in Prince, and I'd be fascinated to take this to kind of a deep dive.
Yeah. I see someone mentioning in the chat as well that there was a documentary for Quincy Jones who just passed this morning at 91 years old. Another person who there is no documentary. This is a mini series spinoff with a podcast to cover what this man has done, bro. I think one of the funniest things with Quincy Jones is you like tell people this is Rashida Jones' dad, and they go, "What?" This man has a legacy that is ridiculous. So with his passing this morning, I'm very curious to see what that documentary that they had on him would entail and how they'd be releasing that now after his passing too. So, hey, a lot of stuff in the horizon. I'm curious when someone passes, like, you remember when Anderson .Paak tattooed on his thing, "Don't mess with my music or anything after I die"?
I didn't, but badass, I guess.
You don't remember that?
No.
Dude, he tattooed it like on his arm. "Do not use any of my music or whatever after I'm dead. Leave me be." At what point with all these estates, if they don't have anything like ready to go, who really is making the decisions for this to not be out there, right? Maybe Prince wouldn't have wanted it. He was a perfectionist, but at the same time, it'd be crazy that someone not Prince is making those decisions out there and not getting a story told. But I don't know. We'll keep up with more on that. Hey, wouldn't it be crazy if it gets mentioned at Sundance and we never get to see it again?
hint, maybe.
Would you go to
Please?
all 6 episodes? We'd have to.
If we're not sure if we're ever going to see it, 100%.
It's a premiere doc.
Bro, do you remember when Doug Liman put out a Brett Kavanaugh documentary as a surprise Sundance screening and it was never heard from again? You never know what's going to happen to these things.
It never came out?
It never came out.
And that's your boy too.
Yeah.
What was
I
it
am
called,
a Doug Liman
bro?
defender.
I remember it. It was the 2020 year. I want to say we were at the we're in the Harry Potter house for that one.
Justice. Wait, maybe it came out last year?
I thought it like went to HBO Max or something. Damn, bro. No, this is Dead in the Water.
Yeah, another Dead in the Water documentary. I mean, I can imagine that one's going to be a hard one to clear license stuff, but
for those of you
not
who
music.
Just your watch list right here, Justice.
Yeah.
85 minutes, way different than 6 hours.
7 hours.
Dear Lord. Yeah.